What does it take to stare down the roar of an engine, grip the wheel at 240 kilometers per hour, and shatter every expectation before you've even turned 18? Today's guest doesn't just have answers, she lives them. She's not following the road, she's building her own track. Meet Shreya Lohia, India's youngest female Formula 4 racer and the first Indian woman to ever score points in the country's F4 championship. But let's be clear, this isn't just a racing story. And while the motorsport world continues to be dominated by men, Shreya's very presence on the grid is a rebellion in motion. Shreya isn't just racing, she's representing. Her journey is just beginning. Welcome to the edX Live podcast, Shreya. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your growing up years.
So I just came across motorsports on a family road trip. It was never something we sort of planned. It was just coincidental. We ended up at a go-kart track, and that's when I first tried it out. And I ended up loving it so much that I told my dad this is what I want to do. And yeah, I guess since then that's how my journey started.
That was the first spark of fascination with the sport, was it?
Yeah.
So, were there any early role models you looked up to, whether in sport or outside?
So when I joined motorsports, it was all about. I started watching all the Formula One races and stuff. I started getting more into it because no one from my family prior to this trip knew anything about motorsports. So it was kind of just new for all of us. So for me, as soon as I joined motorsports, I started watching a lot of races and stuff. So from then, my first ever idol that I've had ever since then has been Michael Schumacher. Watching his archive races, I think were amazing. It just made me so much more passionate about the sport, made me realize the amount of hard work, these champions, these legends put into the sport. So I would say he was probably my one of my idols at the start, and also Kush Maini, who is India's Formula 2 driver, and I met him at a pretty early stage in my career, and I've met him multiple times. He's just a huge inspiration, and he's sort of the flag bearer for motorsports in India right now.
Was there anything particular about them that stood out to you that you really got attracted to?
Yeah, I think with Michael Schumacher it was more about his mindset. Obviously, back then Formula One was so different, but the way that he handled everything that came to him, and the way he was able to dominate the sport for so long, and just be a good driver despite having a few moments here and there, he was able to keep himself in control and deliver his best performances. I think that's something that was so admirable to me. And with Kush as well, obviously he's an amazing driver. I've been following him practically since I joined motorsports. So I've been following his career for a very long time, and I've seen him at every stage of his career since then. And it's just so inspirational because he's fighting against so many odds. Like I said, being an Indian driver, it gets quite difficult to move up in motorsports. He's doing that, and he's showing us that it's possible, and he's taking us there. He's opening the pathways for us, and he's making India proud. He's getting such good results. He even finished on the podium in Monaco last week, and he's just such a humble personality. He's always there to help me out if I ever need help. So, yeah, there's just so much to admire.
Absolutely. I think there's always a learning curve, and I think humility really helps carry people through, to greater stages and to greater lessons in life. There is a certain element of fear, I'm sure, or maybe not. But how do you think, navigating high stakes and high speeds? I'm sure that there must be some kind of adrenaline, you call it fear. How do you navigate through that?
Yes, so motorsports is quite a risky sport, I would say, because we're driving at such high speed. Obviously, we all have that fear at the back of our minds of the worst possible scenario, but we go into it knowing that the sport inevitably has such risks. Obviously, we pray for each other. We hope that none of that the worst doesn't happen to anyone. We kind of just hope that we're racing safe. But when we're on the track, we don't really think about it. I guess the adrenaline kind of just gets to us. We're more about getting our best results on there.
Right. So, as India's first female Formula 4 racer, for our edX Live younger audiences, what would you say to people who, do not know how to navigate criticism in the most positive way?
So for me, I think being one of the first woman and stuff, and sort of being in such a male dominated field, it can get really tricky at times because no one's there to tell you what to do. Since you're the first, you kind of have to deal with it head on. So you're kind of paving the way for the rest of them. So I'm glad I will be able to help some other female drivers who may face the same thing in the future. But for me, it was really just about facing everything head on. Like truthfully, honestly, that was the way I dealt with everything. I've had a lot of tough instances in my career, whether that's like on track or off track. But it was just about dealing with it. It was just about acknowledging that things like these can happen. And honestly, it's never, good to face such things at a young age in your career. But it's about getting through it, and I'm kind of happier that I had to face this at this age rather than later. It kind of prepares me for the stakes, because they get higher. They 100% get higher. So I think for me, recently, I guess for like the past 1 or 2 years, it's kind of just been about staying off social media, because I think since social media is such a big thing now, it's kind of easy to sort of see all of that and let it affect you. So I'm kind of off social media for quite a while. It helps me keep my mind clear and focus on what I'm supposed to do, and stop paying attention to what everyone else says. I think that's one of the main things. And
So I think the secret to life is just, kind of facing everything head on, letting your work do the talking, if I may.
yep, 100%. There's no other way. There's no point in avoiding things that can happen. So it's just about facing everything as it comes.
Absolutely. I really respect that. I just want to know because the life of a racer is something that is so far away from most of our usual lives, right? So, what does an average training week look like for you? How much of your life revolves around racing? Have you had to sacrifice, important things like friendships or free times or other interests?
So motorsports is incredibly time consuming, I would say, even though it may not look like it. We don't have a lot of active training days at the racetrack, but we do have a lot of training outside of the racetrack, because training on the racetrack can get kind of expensive. It's more about preparing yourself as much as you can for the races. So for me, a week in my life is mainly just about maximizing all 7 days, working out twice a day as much as possible, spending as much time as I can on the racing simulator. It's about driving on as many racetracks as I can, maximizing all of what I can really do, focusing on my reaction timing, training my neck and my core to handle the G forces, and obviously eating well, staying healthy. That's the most important thing. And sort of mentally preparing yourself, I think, is also so important. So I like to do a bit of meditation as well to calm down, to stay in contact with my mind in high pressure situations as well. So it's really just about staying as fit as possible mentally and physically, and making sure that you're prepared in every aspect of your sport.
Have you had to make any sacrifices in terms of, your friends, partnerships? Because I know you were at that age where most other kids your age are doing leading some pretty different lives. But of course, there are pros and cons to everything. So, what do you think you really hate sacrificing about this? Even though I understand how much dedication it takes.
I guess I'm not sure. I don't think I truly hate something that I'm sacrificing. I guess every now and then I think about, how I don't have much of a social life as compared to other people my age. But then again, I'm going to pursue something that's my dream, and my family is fully supporting me in this, which is a huge thing, and it's something I really really enjoy. So it's kind of just for me that I'm able to do what I love so much, and it can get a bit overwhelming at times, when you have like birthday parties or stuff like that, and you see all your peers hanging out and stuff. But for me, it's really just about focusing on my personal goals, my personal achievements, and my sort of values, I guess, outside of having, a huge and booming social life. It's kind of about making making it to the top in my sport, and, just my personal values, spending time with my family and things like that.
Wonderful. Thank you. So I know it can't always be a positive sphere of things. Like you mentioned, sometimes things can get overwhelming on and off the track. Now, on track, what's the most powerful lesson you've learned from failure?
I think on track, what I've learned is that things can happen to you at any point, because in motorsports, it's so unpredictable. Like your car could break down, you could get hit by someone else in the race and stuff. So I think for me, it was just in motorsports, it was about getting back up every single time. And off track, I've learned honestly so much, because motorsports has taught me so much, even on the track, off the track, from people around me, from drivers, from incidents and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess off track, what I've learned a lot is to cherish the people that are there for you, because it's a tough industry. Motorsports sort of being the way it is, and being the first, being the only female and stuff, you're kind of secluded, you're kind of in a corner. Even though people might think that, the spotlight is on you. Maybe it is on me, but I'm kind of still in that corner. It's just me sort of there. And it's kind of not the same way as it seems. A lot of people are accepting of the fact that, I'm getting the recognition I'm getting and stuff like that. Some people sort of don't like it. So it's kind of difficult to differentiate, your friends from your non-friends, I guess. It's one thing I've learned, and especially at this age, because it's kind of, also figuring out your circle and stuff. So I think that's also been one thing for me, that not everyone is there for you, even though they may seem like they're there for you. So it's really just about making sure you have that close connection with the ones who care for you, whether that's family, whether that's maybe even someone outside of your family. So I think for me, it's just been about surrounding myself with the right people at this age, because they're going to stay with me for the rest of my life. I know the people I confide in now are going to be there for me, and I'm going to be there for them. So it's just been about, finding the circle that I need.
Absolutely. I think this has been a recurring theme in our podcast to find that support system that truly carries you through, that no matter whether you win, whether you lose, you know that those people will be there for you forever. Well, I know that you just mentioned that, it's also a mental game, right? You've mentioned that racing is 90% mental and 10% physical. Can you elaborate on how you cultivate mental strength and focus, especially when facing setbacks or high pressure situations on the track? I think you already touched upon that through meditation and stuff. But is there something that's more like racing aligned, which allows you to stay focused?
So before I had a racing simulator, there wasn't much that would sort of get me in the zone, I guess, or in the exact same situation as I am on the racetrack. But really, it's just about, sort of imagining that you're at the track, where even when things don't go your way, it's kind of just about remembering that whether you're winning or you're losing, you're just learning and you're getting better. And that's all that really matters. Obviously, tough situations come, and you have to take it as it is. You can't twist it around. If you're not doing well enough, you're just not doing well enough, and you need to make sure you acknowledge that and you work towards it and you get better, because you're not going to improve if you don't face the truth. I think with the racing simulator, that's really helped me a lot, sort of get into the exact same situation as you are in the car. So that's when I can sort of feel like, I am driving, and if I'm planning an overtake on the driver in front of me, I can sort of be in the same mindset as I would be in the racing car and sort of realize, okay, is this a good move? Is it not a good move? And stuff like that. And even if there's incidents on the racing simulator as well, it helps me so much just sort of get into the zone of how I am in the race car, to sort of prepare myself for what I can do in moments like this. It's just about, reaching the finish line. It's just about reaching the checkered line. It's about making sure you are able to bounce back from everything and not let negative thoughts send you into a spiral during the race. So it's about just getting up as quickly as possible. I think that's helped. Even the racing simulator has helped me a lot with that. Even when you have a few silly mistakes in the lap, you kind of are able to focus back, and I'm able to, train my mind to sort of again focus on what I'm supposed to do and just forget that small mistake, focus on the rest of the lap.
Sometimes do you feel like you are representing something bigger than yourself?
I think inevitably I do. Obviously, firstly, I am representing myself and my family and my whole career and stuff. But I know at some point I'm representing Indians as a whole, Indian females. It's a huge honor, but it's also sometimes a bit of pressure when you do something, when you're like the first or you're the representative for a certain group. You kind of feel that pressure of, if you make a mistake, they kind of will assume that, your whole group is like that. That if I make a mistake, they're just gonna assume all Indian drivers are like that. That's a bit pressurizing, honestly. We're all humans, we make mistakes, but sometimes people take it in the wrong way, and they sort of target your whole group as a whole. They say that all female drivers are bad just because you made one mistake. All female drivers are bad now. And I guess that's one thing a lot of male drivers don't have to deal with. So say that's probably one thing that's a bit of pressure, but it's also a huge honor, because I'm representing something so much bigger, and I hope that brings a lot of change in these certain aspects in motorsports.
Absolutely. I think you have already paved the way for change to thrive. But I want to ask you, going from Formula 4 as a starting line all the way to F1, what do you think it takes technically, besides, preparation mentally, what you've already mentioned? Where do you see yourself in 4 years?
There's a lot of aspects to it, like you said, physically and mentally, all that stuff, obviously. It's just about getting getting there. Financial plays a huge role in motorsports, because you have to put in so much money in each championship before you reach Formula Two. That's when you sort of start getting all that earnings for your hard work back. But even with a lot of instances like we've seen in Formula 2, sometimes with unfairness towards certain people, I've seen something happen with an Indian driver quite a while back in F2. So I guess it's just about going, and it's about, again, having that support, because if you don't have that support, you're kind of alone. You're alone against sort of the rest of the whole organization and stuff. So just about going through it, going against all the odds, because there's so many countries where motorsport isn't so well developed, but just to get there, to be there, you're representing everyone. I think it's just about moving through each step in the ladder to Formula One as well as you can, and getting good results, representing your country, and making sure that small instances don't affect you, because you're there at the end of the day to represent your country and to make things better and to make your family proud.
How do you balance 12th grade and being a professional motorsports player, actually? How do you balance school and, something so intense that requires so much of your time?
So with school, I was homeschooled in sixth grade, so I've just been trying to work that curriculum since then, because it's been a lot easier with my racing schedule. So I've been homeschooling a lot since then. So it's really about studying as much as I can at home, or even if I'm at the hotel before a race. I've had that happen to me a few times as well, where I'm studying like the night before a race, even though I'm supposed to focus on the race. But like I take an hour out of my time just to go through my book and make sure I'm not skipping on my studies as well. So they're both very important aspects to me in my life, and I'm just trying to balance it as well as possible. I guess I wouldn't say I have the perfect technique to it, but it's just about covering up as much as you can so it doesn't pile up, so that you're able to focus on both equally well.
Now, I know we've been through quite the emotional journey, but I wanted to ask you, if a 10-year-old girl walked up to you after this interview and said, I want to be like you, what would you say to her?
If a 10-year-old girl walked up to me and said that, I'd firstly be really honored, because I would be pretty happy, pretty inspired, happy that I was able to inspire someone else, and that my journey is able to sort of convince someone that they would want to join the sport that I love so much, and it's given them the same passion that I got when I was 9. Go into it. Sometimes you're gonna feel like you're the black sheep, because with the number of females in motorsports at the moment, it's still steadily growing. You're gonna feel like you're the only one there, but it's just about going through it, remembering that you're here for yourself, to pursue your dream, pursue your passion, and as long as your family's supporting you, that's really all the support you need. As long as everything is going well, it's just about staying as focused as possible, working as hard as possible, not paying attention to the naysayers, because there will be plenty. You know what you want to achieve, and just stop paying attention to the outside world, cut out the outside noise, and just focus on building your dream career and achieving your goals.
That was Shreya Lohia, India's youngest Formula 4 racer and a force rewriting the rules of the track and beyond. Her story reminds us that courage isn't loud, it's focused, disciplined, and relentless. If her journey inspired you, please share this episode and follow the edX Live podcast for more voices that are shaping the future, one bold move at a time. Until next time, stay curious, stay driven, and keep chasing what sets your soul on fire.